Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel Buddha Affirmation. Here every story has a purpose and every lesson is meant to help you grow in a life. So let's dive into a new story that will teach us that whatever God does, He does it for our good. So let's start the story. Once upon a time, a ship was caught up in a terrible storm while sailing across the ocean. The waves were massive and the wind howled fiercely. The storm was so strong that it destroyed the ship, leaving all the passengers to drown in the sea. But by some miracle, one man managed to survive. He clung to a piece of floating debris and, with the grace of God, was ashore on a deserted island. When the man regained consciousness, he opened his eyes and realized he was all alone on an empty, desolate island. His clothes were soaked and his body ached, but he was alive. Overwhelmed by his situation, he immediately fell to his knees and prayed, "Oh God, please help me. Please send someone to rescue me." Days went by, but no help came. The man spent his nights sleeping on the cold, sandy beach under the open sky. Every morning he prayed to God again, hoping for a miracle, but still no one came. As the days turned into weeks, the man's hope began to fade. He started to believe that this deserted island was his fate and no one would ever come to save him. Accepting his situation, the man decided to make the best of it. He began collecting wood, leaves, and grass to build himself a small hut. It was not much, but it provided shelter from the sun and rain. He scavenged items from the wreckage of the ship that had washed ashore and stored them in his little hut. Slowly, he learned how to survive by eating coconut and catching fish from the sea. Though it was not easy, he found a way to manage. One day, after building a small fire near his hut to cook food, the man decided to go out and gather more supplies. When he returned, he was shocked to see that his hut was engulfed in flames. Thick black smoke rose high into the sky as the fire consumed everything he had worked so hard to build. His shelter, his belongings, and his sense of security were all gone in an instant. The man fell to his knees in despair. Tears streamed down his face as he looked up at the sky and cried out, "Oh God, why? I asked you for help and you did not listen. I built this hut with so much effort and now you have taken even that away from me. Why are you so cruel?" He felt completely hopeless and angry. Exhausted from his emotion, he eventually fell asleep on the beach. But the next morning, the man was startled awake by a loud noise. It sounded like the horn of a ship. He quickly opened his eyes and saw a large ship anchored near the shore. A group of people was approaching in a small rescue boat. The man could not believe his eyes. Help had finally come. Overwhelmed with joy, he ran to meet the rescuers. Once on the ship, he asked the captain, "How did you know I was here on this island?" The captain replied, "We saw a fire signal rising from the island. It was clear someone needed help, so we came to check." The man was stunned. He had not seen any fire signal. But then it hit him. The fire that had burned down his hut was the very thing that had saved him. What he had seen as a disaster was actually part of a bigger plan. He realized that the fire, though it had destroyed his shelter, was the reason the rescuers found him. At that moment, the man understood something profound. God had been watching over him all along. The destruction of his hut, which he thought was cruel act, was actually a blessing in disguise. It was God's way of leading him to safety. With tears of gratitude in his eyes, he thanked God for the plan he could not see at that moment. This story reminds us of an important lesson. In our life, we often make plans and hope everything will go our way. But sometimes things don't work out the way we want. When difficulties arise, we feel frustrated and our faith is tested. We may even start to question why bad things happen to us. But just like the man on the island, we need to remember that God's plan are often bigger and better than our own. What may seem like a setback or loss could be part of a greater plan that we simply can't see in that moment. In tough times, it is important to keep faith and patience. Instead of losing hope, we should trust that everything happens for a reason. Just as the man's burning heart led to his rescue, challenges in our lives can lead to unexpected blessings. We need to keep putting in effort and trust that God's guidance will help us through. His plans are always better than what we can imagine for ourselves. So, the next time you face a difficult situation and it feels like everything is going wrong, remember this story. Trust that God has a plan for you and it is always for your good. Keep moving forward and never lose faith. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video, hit like button. And for more such stories, subscribe to our channel. Thank you and stay positive.